Good morning, everybody. It is week 8. It's can't believe we're already talking about week 8. We're already probably thinking about some playoff action and things of that nature. Especially if you've been listening to us. If you've been listening to the old toilets to titles, we've been kicking some ass and taking some names for you. And I'm not afraid to gloat about it. I'm not afraid to sit there and say this is the channel you want to follow. So make sure you guys get out there, follow this channel. Give us a 5-star review on Apple. Do all the right things that you're supposed to do as a person. Get us a little bit more exposure out there, and we'll definitely keep making it worth your while. So good morning, everybody. Let me start off by my co-host here. Alex, what is happening, man? What is going on?
Nothing much, man. It's good to be back. I missed last week. We had a wedding that I got home way too late, from. So I woke up at like 11:15 and was like, oh, I was supposed to do something this morning. But so there's that. But I'm excited to be back. Let's do some lineup questions. Let's win some weeks. I got a couple leagues that are kind of at the precipice of, if I don't win this week, must wins to even have a chance for the playoffs. So it's a big week for me. So let's do this.
Let's do it. And then my other co-host on my left also is my guy, Happy Halloween. Wait a minute. Where the hell did you come from? Just kidding. It's my boy, Justin. What's happening, man? How we doing on this fine Sunday morning on this Halloween day?
That's right. I'm doing wonderful. I love Halloween. I love all the scary movies leading up to Halloween. I love the fact that we read everywhere online that my sleepy little town that I live in is doing trick-or-treating tonight. And then, so last night our porch light was off and we were watching The Exorcist. And just to find out late last night that trick-or-treating did happen in our sleepy little town, because the Carthage Volunteer Fire Department posted that they were doing some big event and we missed it on Facebook. So as excited as I am to always get to hand out candy to the kids, I didn't get to last night. So I'm going to leave the light on tonight, but I have a feeling I'm not going to get a lot of trick-or-treaters, and I'm going to get a buttload of extra candy. So I'm pretty.
I bet you're going to get egged because you weren't there to hand out the candy. Or little bags of poop on your porch. Yeah, I encourage this for anybody who lives in Justin's neighborhood to go throw bags of poop on his porch.
And in our little town, like I said, it's a small town. Like we have less than 600 people, and that's counting all the farmers in the outlying areas. Like there's nothing better for these kids to do. So absolutely, and it's very well deserved. Very well.
I think didn't you say some of your students follow the show too, right?
Yeah, but my students are residential students. They live on campus. They're not allowed to leave. So, yeah, I'm good there. I'm good there.
Yeah, but you have an office door, right, or a classroom door? They can leave bags of poop in front of that. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding.
Just make sure you tag me on Twitter when you share the picture.
Yeah. No, that's all I'm asking. Best they could do is just drop trout and poop right there in the middle of class.
There you go. Hey, I don't mind that either. That'd be pretty damn funny. Just the little housekeeping things, follow us at www.toiletstotitles.com. We got the best videos, articles. I'm telling you guys, the articles that are coming out on there are top notch. We've got some of the best riders in the industry going on there. Once again, get on there, hit that like button. You're on your YouTube, your Facebook, your Podbean, wherever you find us, hit that 5-star review. Help us out, man. We love it. And then just go to the patreon.com. It's really, really like $3 a month. We have a really good time on there, a lot of fun chats. And it's getting more and more active every day. So you definitely want to get in there, especially when we can still get the questions answered and all that fun stuff. And so let's go ahead and get into this. We got Joe Clark. He's saying, let's go Big Blue. I don't know who he's talking about right there. Who's big or blue? The Colts. There you go. Yep. Go Colts. He also says happy Halloween. Steve actually has a question. He says, is Dak playing today, guys? What do you guys think?
I don't think he would have made the trip if he wasn't going to play. So I think if he doesn't play, it means that the injury is probably, worse than we thought, but I don't know. It really could just come down to game time and he could, screw it up during, warm-ups or whatever. But I think that would knock him back an extra week. So I don't know. I think if he went, he's playing, but the hell do I know?
No, I agree. I agree completely. I think, obviously he just lost his grandmother this week as well. So he's had a pretty rough week. And, a lot of times those guys really want to try to play to keep their mind off of what's going on in the real world, and they usually play pretty inspired football. I feel like Dak's going to play, and I feel like he's probably going to have a pretty good game. I know I'm going to be rooting for him on like as far as like a personal level, just watching football sort of thing. But the problem is that he's playing Sunday night football, so your lineups have to be set well before then, and he really truly is, from what seems to be a game time decision. So if you were not able to go out there and get Cooper Rush to hang on to him, I feel like you've got to make that decision ahead of time. Worst case scenario, hopefully you got a 4:00 guy, and maybe you hear some. So maybe they make an announcement before the 4:00 games. But I kind of feel like, I mean, it depends. If you're way behind in the projections and having anybody but Dak, you're going to lose anyway. You may as well leave Dak in and hope for the best, because Alex and I are both pretty confident that he's going to play. But and then if it looks like you're pretty close in the matchup right now, or you're favored, then I'd probably go ahead and just bench Dak and roll with the best other option you have.
Yeah, Daniel Jones might still be out there on the waiver wire, and he plays Monday night, so that could be your backup option if you want to try to get Dak in there. If you want to wait to see.
Pretty
Kirk
sure that
Cousins
one of
as
the
well.
main reasons that Steve is asking is for the Frankenstank League, so I can tell you exactly who's available.
Yeah, no, and I'm saying I think another guy that might be available who's had a few off weeks is Kirk Cousins, if you're in the right league. If you're in a 2-quarterback league, obviously not. But and that's what Joe is saying. He's thinking he's playing, and Steve hopes not. He's like, I hope not. So we probably just ruined your day already. Just like we want Justin's students to ruin his day for not being out there to hand out candy. I think you got to go get full candy bars now to make up for it. I think that's a good switch. We'll go ahead.
Did you miss the part where I'm a teacher? That ain't happening. I don't even buy full candy bars for my own kids.
What about for yourself?
Touche.
Do you get full size candy? Yeah, that's what I thought.
One is a lot cheaper than 30.
That's awesome. I forget about how awesome we pay teachers in our country. It's always a wonderful reminder when you actually hit them with something. They're like, well, I haven't gotten paid right for about 12 years of my life, and I'm still in student debt. We got Amazello saying at PPR, he feels loaded with wide receivers this week. Which three does he look best to start? He's got Debo, DK, T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, and Emmanuel Sanders. So who are we sitting out of that group?
Oy. That is.
We have to sit two.
Yeah, you got to sit two. This is definitely a matchup problem. I'm probably going to sit. Jesus. Definitely playing Debo. Definitely playing DK.
I'm definitely playing Allen, right? Like I can't sit Keenan Allen.
I know, but Emmanuel Sanders has been. I know touchdown dependent, but he's been getting the touchdowns, and he's definitely the second look on that team, outside of Diggs, and even sometimes the first, read, even with Diggs in the game. But I'd probably go Debo, DK, and Keenan. Yeah, I think that's the way I would run. I like Higgins as well, but they might get up real big real fast on the Jets and then take their foot off the throttle, so there's probably a cap to that ceiling. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Debo, DK, Keenan Allen for me.
I don't know, I'm gonna bench Emmanuel Sanders here just because Beasley is just annoying enough to kind of make me not as confident in him as the rest. And then honestly, I think I'm benching Keenan. He hasn't been playing like Keenan Allen has been playing over his career. This past season hasn't been a Keenan Allen season. And don't get me wrong, I'm starting Keenan Allen anytime I have Keenan Allen, unless I have this kind of a stacked wide receiving core. So I think in this situation, I might bench Keenan Allen. I do agree that there is that possibility of that narrative of T. Higgins not getting as much workload because they're going to go up early. But I got to believe that part of the reason they're going up early is because they're going to score early touchdowns, and he's likely to be one of those guys. So I like his odds of scoring a touchdown against the Jets better than Keenan Allen scoring a touchdown against the Patriots.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely agreeing with that too. Like I said, I mean, I can see the philosophy behind it, but for me, Emmanuel Sanders just is too touchdown dependent for me to depend on that. And I feel like Keenan Allen is a guy that he can come out of nowhere and get you some seriously high points. So I can't sit him. Next question up, we got @skull_sister_need to pick 2 for 1 wide receiver, 1 flex spots in a 1 PPR guillotine league. I love guillotine leagues. She's got Thielen, Patterson, Metcalf, DJ Moore, Hawkinson, and Woods. Who would you guys start in that situation? We need to pick 2 and for wide receiver and 1 flex spot.
No, it says pick 2, 1 wide receiver and 1 flex.
That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said pick 2.
He said that, just
kind of,
not exactly those same words, but that's what he said.
I thought you said you're a teacher.
Yeah, I should be able to understand this language.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'll take this one first. I feel strongly that the Vikings are going to have a great game offensively tonight. I mean, if Dak doesn't play, then that's all the more reason. But I feel pretty good about starting Thielen over this group, and then also I feel pretty good, pretty solid about starting Patterson in my flex. The guy has done nothing but score touchdowns every single week. I hate to bench any of those other guys, but when you got a guy that's on fire like that, I believe he's a top 5 right now for wide receivers. And you're putting him in your flex, so it doesn't really matter if he's classified as a wide receiver or a running back. So, God, it feels so dirty to bench all these other guys, though. That's the thing. You've got an incredible group. You've got an incredible roster here. You need to make some trades, but I think I'm probably going to start Thielen and Patterson, and I know that's probably not the popular pick.
Those are my picks. That's exactly who I was going to say.
Wow.
I'm not benching Patterson right now. If I'm getting him in over a bunch of other people, as long as he's still going out there and they're focusing their offense. When he's in the game, he's getting the ball. So he might not be getting, 60% of the snaps in the backfield, but every time he's in the game, they are focused on getting him the ball. And I don't know how defenses haven't figured this out and have stopped it yet, but until they do, I'm rolling with Patterson, and I'm exactly with you with Thielen as well. I like the upside against the Cowboys more than I like Geno Smith with Metcalf, and the Panthers haven't been able to move the ball like they were the first 3 games of the season. These last 4 have been very mediocre after CMC, left the lineup. So DJ Moore hasn't been nearly as effective. And Woods and Hawkinson just aren't getting, the same volume. Yeah, they have not been consistent. I'm with you with Thielen and Patterson. That's how I would roll.
I will say that I heard a rumor that Trayvon Diggs is probably going to be shadowing more towards Thielen's side tonight, more so than Jefferson. So if you have the opportunity to start Jefferson anywhere, obviously this isn't for this question, but I do sense Jefferson having a huge night tonight. But even still, he's going to have to play Jefferson some, especially as the game starts rolling. And Cousins is going to find a way to find Thielen. If they can get into the red zone, it's going to Thielen.
Yep.
I'm really glad you two agree on this, because for me, it's Metcalf and Moore. And I agree with what you guys are saying with Thielen and Patterson. I do like him. I can't depend on Cordarrelle Patterson. I've seen him burn me too many times in the past where he has these big, huge games, big, huge seasons. But it's just so hit or miss. And so for me with that Atlanta team, I just can't depend on that team to be consistent. For me, it's Metcalf and Moore. But you're going to want to go with Thielen and Patterson because that's what these two told you to do. We got @Deluxios, which I believe is a mix between deluxe and delicious, maybe, which I think is pretty classy. We got, hey, guys, traded Sutton for Carter and Carter for Kamara. Who won the trade?
So
Kamara.
would it be called Deluxious?
Deluxious.
That actually,
there's no U there, though. You'd need
Right.
the U for the shus sound.
Deluxios.
Deluxios.
Yeah, Deluxios.
I
Maybe
like
it's-
that too.
Maybe it's Spanish for something. I don't know.
Yeah. could
Definitely
be.
not a Spanish teacher here.
Yes. Or a Spanish speaker, unfortunately.
All right. Yeah, I like that trade. I like if you got the Kamara side on that, I absolutely like it. Kamara is going to be far more consistent than the other two.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love Sutton. But as long as you have, two other good wide receivers, I'm fine with that. Even probably one other stud wide receiver, I'd much rather have Kamara in my lineup than Sutton, because he's gonna get Kamara's getting the volume every single week. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't have to rely on Teddy Bridgewater then either.
Right.
Right. The additional lineup question he's got here is Judy, Javonte Williams, or Gibson as a flex in standard PPR. Standard points league. Sorry. Read that wrong.
And those teams are playing against each other this week, by the way, for what it's
Yep.
worth. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Judy. That Washington defense is horrible. I know it's risky to start a guy right off of an injury like that, but the one somewhat solid aspect to that defense is their run defense, and Javonte might get more out of the backfield catching the ball. So maybe I've probably just talked myself into Javonte actually.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Javonte because of the injury aspect, but I do think Judy still has a big game though. Either way, unfortunately, I'm going to bench Gibson in this group just because that the Broncos defense, as good as they are, on paper, they're really not all that great. They've played a lot of weak defenses, a lot of weak offenses. But Gibson also with that injury, I don't know. He's still getting a workload, but I think I'm going to go with Javonte here.
I'm going to go with Gibson because he's off the injury report for the first time since I think like the second game in the season. So they think he's full go, good to go. I like Gibson here. The Denver defense has not been very has not been able to stop the ground game very much in the last.
I believe
couple weeks.
Miller and Chubb are both out, right? Like both Miller and Chubb are on the IR, if I recollect correctly. Yeah, so they can't.
Yeah, they can't stop anyone. Last week,
yeah.
I forget who they played, but I remember watching the game, and they were just letting everything come through.
Yeah.
Everything. So, I'm going to go with Gibson here. Javonte would be a close second, though. I think he has a pretty good game as well. But Judy does scare me coming off. They said he was a little sore after practicing all week, even in a limited capacity. So I'd probably give Judy another week to make sure, unless you need it. I have one league where I have to put him in because he's just the best, the best option coming off my bench. So.
Get over it, Judy. We're all sore after this week. It's been a long damn week, okay? No, I'm just kidding. I'm with you. Gibson, too. I think I lean Gibson here as well because, was it Dearness Johnson? I think he's still gaining yards on the Broncos defense as we're talking right now. Or they're still tallying him up because he got so damn many against them. So definitely want to lean towards Gibson. Although I do like McKissick a lot today too. So we got Steve with a question here. He says, would you give CMC, Hubbard, and Waller for Zeke? My, what a different world we're living in when that's a question, boys. Like, woo.
Yeah, we were actually talking about this one in the Patreon. Well, when he was talking about it, it was just CMC and Waller for Zeke. And now it's got Hubbard. I didn't like it necessarily when it was just CMC and Waller for Zeke, just because Waller, with that positional advantage at tight end, he's not doing exactly as much as we wanted him to do, but he's still a top 5 tight end. He's getting consistent double-digit points every week. I know it's tough with CMC being out and you're not sure when he's going to come back. But Hubbard's been getting a decent amount of work too. So I just think that's a lot to get for Zeke. Maybe if you can get another piece in there with Zeke. But yeah, that one's tough unless you're that fed up with CMC, which it seems like he is. But
yeah, but if I recall from that chat, and if it's the league I think it is, I believe he just made a trade too to pick up a pretty solid number 2 tight end that would be a number 1 on most teams as well. So I think that was part of his reasoning. But even still, I feel like that's an awful lot to give up. You should be able to get another solid running back and plus a piece, like you said, maybe a wide receiver to help you out, or if you really don't need that tight end position, another RB2 / a flexible running back, something like that. So yeah, I agree. I think it's just a little bit too much to give up for Zeke.
Now, I do have a question. Do you guys know, because wasn't able to catch it in the chat, is this for a dynasty league or is this for
Redraft.
This is just for a redraft league? Man, okay, so that makes a little bit more sense to me. But yeah, you're giving way too much. This trade should almost be the opposite effect. And what I'm going to do with CMC is simple. I believe we're almost up to week 3 next week, right? And so I believe he comes back the week after that.
Hopefully.
And so sell him on a high. I think we'll at least get one more game out of him before we hit the trade deadline in most of our leagues. Sell him on a high. You don't want to sell CMC on a down on an injury. It's tough. But I do like getting me some Zeke, but I definitely don't want to get rid of Waller at the same time. I'd still rather flex my tight end than get rid of him, because flexing a guy like Waller, and if you did get one of the big 3 in a trade right there, then I don't mind flexing those guys in situations like that.
Yeah,
he did say he ultimately turned it down. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna. The only other reason would be because Waller's on a bye. So if he needed to win this week, I said, I wouldn't hate it. Get Zeke, get him in there. He's gonna score pretty big tonight, today. So that was part of the reasoning. But if you don't need the win now, I would try to hold off and wait for CMC to come back before I'd sell him.
Yep. See, I have to wait on him because he's just worth too much. I paid too much in the draft to get that guy. Yeah. I understand, though, as a CMC owner in a lot of dynasty leagues, but I was, if you listen to me, I was saying avoid him in the draft this year, week 6, be on the ready and things like that because of the 300 touches. And I go into that in detail in the off season, especially where we talk about guys that are hitting this. I mean, these guys are just, we can want these guys to be as good as we want them to be, but then once you hit the size limit or anything like that, you get worn down really quick, really easy in the NFL. And so when we start seeing about 300 touches on these smaller guys, they really start breaking down. CMC's right there. So, and they're still just keep on trying to use him. So it's upsetting as it is. I feel like we're not going to ever see that same CMC again, except hopefully a couple more times this year. And I'm telling you, when that happens, bail out, boys. We got at Brown Chubby Bear. He says, trying to decide my flex spot. He's got Brandon Cooks, Devin Singletary, or Ricky Seals-Jones. This one is easy for me. What do you say, Alex?
Cooks. It's not really a contest for me.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think they all have a decent floor to me, but I think the one that has the highest potential for a big game is Cooks.
Yep.
Yeah, that guy gets hyper targeted in a lot of situations, as he should. I'm curious to see if he gets traded before the deadline, though, so those guys can open up a little bit more space in their team. I really love me some Brandon Cooks this year. He's been awesome. We got at PPR or at Polls FF Football. He says, who should they start? Antonio Gibson or JD McKissick, half PPR? Justin, we'll lead off with you this time.
Yeah, it's still Gibson. Even though I have all the faith in the world that J.D. McKissick very likely could outscore him, I just, you have to go with the starter. And if he is off the injury report, whatever, it's still that kind of injury, though. It's a bone in the shin. Like, I get, like, you're healthy, you can play, but it's still going to hurt like all season. Like, it's not something that just goes away without rest. So it's going to hurt all season. They're still going to utilize a lot of JD McKissick. This is a tough decision for you to make week in, week out from here on out the rest of the season, but you have to go with the starter in this situation. And he's going to have the best floor for sure, because McKissick could just completely go away if they don't need that receiving out of the backfield. And if Gibson does feel well enough to play the whole game, you may get close to nothing out of McKissick. You're not going to get close to nothing out of Antonio Gibson. So you always have to start Gibson in this situation.
Yep, I'm with Gibson as well. I think this game's actually kind of a sneaky shootout kind of game, because both defenses aren't playing, as well as we thought they were going to, and the offenses aren't schlubs. So I think this one has actually some sneaky shootout. So I want the guys who are going to score the touchdowns. So definitely Antonio Gibson for me.
Yep, and same here. I agree with everything Justin's saying there. You know, when we talk about volume, he's got the guaranteed volume in this instance, right? Like, will McKissick get in there and vulture a touchdown? Absolutely. Will he get there and actually outproduce him? That's a high possibility too, but the probability lands on Gibson getting the workload there. So got to go with Gibson myself. At the Kittens Meow says the best 2 running backs in standard, Booker, Chubb, Gainwell, or Hubbard.
Ooh.
And I don't know if we mean this week or overall, but I think the answer for me is pretty easy either way.
I think it's clearly Chubb for sure. And if we're talking about just this week, I might lean pretty heavily towards Gainwell with Miles Sanders being out. So yeah, I think I'm assuming we're going to go with just this week. I'm going to go with Chubb and Gainwell. And I want to choose Hubbard, but I just can't with this given situation.
I'm going Chubb and Booker because Saquon's out. They're playing Kansas City, who can't stop anybody on the ground. So I think Booker's got the volume to put up better numbers than Gainwell and Hubbard. So I'm going to go with Booker and Chubb, but Chubb's definitely like easy peasy, lemon squeezy. He shouldn't be out of your lineup today.
I'm going to take Joe's advice. I'm going to stay away from Booker here. I'm going to say Chubb and Gainwell for me, and I don't care if we're talking this week or rest of the season. I like Gainwell the rest of the season. Even he's getting more of the production with Sanders even in there. So give me some Gainwell, and then Chubb is, to me, he's a slam dunk. To me, he's the 101, especially when he's healthy. Man, that guy is tough to beat.
And especially when Kareem Hunt's on the IR. I don't think Dearness Johnson's gonna come in and take that, all the Kareem Hunt touches. So I think
I think we're gonna see a hefty dose of Chubb. Chubb says he's ready. I'm ready to start him as well. Yeah. And Steve says Philly doesn't run the ball, which is a great point. But I think you're starting to see them get used to the fact that they're gonna have to run the ball to actually open up that offense a little bit more than they have been. And plus, we're getting to the cold season. This is the time where, we don't really use running backs right now, but we're getting into November, where in Philadelphia and places like that, it starts getting pretty damn cold and you start running the ball. And he says he hears about the Kansas City defense, but they can't run the ball. He says he's not going to do anything. So we'll see. We shall see. Next question up was at, where'd you go? That's the one we just did, and that's the one we just did. There we go. For Justin, he says choose 2: Samaje Perine at the Jets, Boston Scott at Detroit, Jarvis Landry versus Pittsburgh, or Damian Williams versus the 49ers. That's a festival of poop.
Yeah, a bunch of flaming bags.
Before we get to this one, something else I want to say about Gainwell, because I understand that Philly doesn't really run the ball very well. But Gainwell is averaging something like 30-some yards receiving per game as well, and catching the ball 3 times a game. And a lot of that is backloaded heavily towards, from week 4 on, because that's when he started getting more utilization. So that's part of the thinking behind Gainwell as well. I had to look that up really quick. Sorry. But, yeah, you can go through that slop of crap of mine and see what you would start in my situation.
So I'm staying away from Damian Williams. Looks like Khalil Herbert has stepped in and taken that, backfield over pretty much. Jarvis, I guess I would start Jarvis definitely as one of them. I don't love it, but I feel like he's got one of the safer floors because they're going to have to move the ball. And he's a good, possession guy. He always has been. So I think he'll get. Is it PPR?
Not really. It's a quarter point PPR. So
that kind of. Oh man, I think I'd still start Jarvis. I think he's got the better chance for a touchdown, and I'd probably go Perine.
Yep, that's actually who I was leaning to on both of those. It's not really that I want to start either one of those guys. It's that I don't want to start Damian Williams and Boston Scott. It's a really tough situation to be in. Especially this early in the season or this middle point of the season. But, man, injuries and things like that, I've seen some way more disgusting choices than this. So it is what it is sometimes when it comes to it. We got our man Dustin. He says, Alex, he's got something on your face, left side. Scratch it. There we go. Dustin, we got you taken care of. On demand scratches even.
Is he making sure we're live?
I guess so, maybe.
I don't see anything. Are you sure it's not on your screen, Dustin? I don't see anything.
My beard.
Yeah, just a gorgeous beard.
I don't know.
Gorgeous man beard sitting in there. Excellent. Oh, he says, gotcha. It's a Halloween prank. Tricks or treats, man. It's like poop on the porch. There you go. We love it. We got at John Rax _. Says flex, Damian Harris, Eli Mitchell, and Chuba Hubbard. Which one do you guys bench this week? Or which one do you leave on the bench this week?
Ooh, that's a tough one. But I'm probably playing Harris and Mitchell. I don't know. This is a really hard one because all three of those guys pretty much have command of their backfield. They all get a pretty good amount of volume. They're all, at just as likely to score a touchdown. But I guess I would go. I personally would go Damian Harris and Elijah Mitchell, but it's razor thin with these three guys. So
yeah, I agree. It's super close. I think if you look at the defenses, like I'm not even counting the Chargers defense because in my mind, Damian Harris is the obvious treat out of this bunch. So we got to figure out which of the other two are going to be the trick here. And I got to say that I feel like the Bears defense has at least shown some glimpse of being able to stop the run in some games. The Falcons defense has shown me absolutely nothing. I don't know. They're both really good options, but I think I'm going to lean more towards Chuba Hubbard just because, like I've said in recent weeks, like if I have to have a tiebreaker, I'm going to go with the guy that has the awesome name that's fun to say. So Chuba Hubbard and Damian Harris are my two for this week.
And I'm gonna lean here with Alex. I'm gonna say I like Harris and Eli Mitchell. I like the opportunity that Hubbard brings. Like I said, I think we're all sitting there and expecting this guy to be Christian McCaffrey and the opportunity when he's a dynamic talent and this guy cannot do what he can do and he's not getting fed the ball in relation to it as he shouldn't. This guy can't go out there and bust like 12 people's ankles and go score you a touchdown like Christian McCaffrey was able to. And although the volume opportunity does present itself, we're talking about a guy who's not as good. So for me, for my money, I'm definitely leaving Chuba on the bench. And I've really kind of glanced down on him as far as dynasty outlook and forward outlook. We got a question here from 808DO13 says he has Keenan Allen, Claypool, Metcalf, AJ Brown, and Diggs. They can only start two. Which two? They also have Henry, Jonathan Taylor, and Fournette. Just play all three running backs or remove one. Are you in a league with me and we can trade, please? Good God, man. That's an awesome, nasty lineup.
This must be like an 8-team league star ball. This is but I would probably start all three running backs and then just go AJ Brown and Diggs. Probably be my picks there for the wide receivers. Like I said before, Geno Smith and Metcalf, just Geno Smith kind of scares me. I know they're playing Jacksonville, but he's definitely an NFL backup. So that kind of scares me off of Metcalf. So I'd probably stick with AJ Brown and Stephon Diggs and then play all three of those running backs.
Yeah, I feel like I agree 100%. Well, I feel like I agree about 85%, which is close enough.
See, and I feel like we're maybe reading that wrong. I think it's if we play all three, we only need to pick one running or one receiver in the situation. So I'm for sure not sitting one of those. I can't sit any one of those running backs right there. And so for me, it's also Stephon Diggs for the fourth.
Yeah, he'd be my number one wide receiver.
Yep.
So that's who I would go with. And then AJ Brown if you need the second one.
But I'm also not mad at you if you have to start Metcalf there just because I do like the matchup against Jacksonville. But yeah, he's the odd man out for all of us.
And we got Dustin coming in saying he's just messing with him. And now my face itches Dustin. So thanks, man. That's the whole time now. I'm like, do I have something there? It's fantastic. You gotta love
you got
Halloween.
You got that bug on your face from the other week.
Exactly.
That crazy bug that was on the ceiling.
It's still there. I'm telling you, it's the craziest thing. I think it landed there and died. I'm not too sure.
You got Ben Chucky here scratching my face for me with his knife. So we're good.
We got Jags getting the second win today. I'm like, I don't think so. Oh, it is. So he does say, where did that go? Said 2 receivers and 2 running backs, 1 flex. So I think we do still have to pick 2 receivers. So in that case, I'm going to also go with AJ Brown as well.
Right.
So excellent. We'll get to this next one here. We got Singletary or Chenault for HB84 music.
Ooh. They're pretty close for me, so I'm going to go with the rule of I'm going to take the running back just for the, kind of the better floor. And even they're playing Miami, so Singletary might get some, extra run in there, as the game wears on, and maybe get in there. Ooh. By the by the red zone. Sorry,
Dustin cursed us.
Yeah, all of a sudden my ear just itched really bad. So. Yeah, I'm gonna go Singletary.
Yeah, I agree. Same for the same reasoning too. If it's a super close tie, I always go with the running back. I do want to mention one more thing about AJ Brown. I know I keep going backward, but my internet is lagging like crazy. My internet is lagging like crazy. So by the time I get to see the information I'm looking for, we've already moved on. But with AJ Brown, you guys want to remember, like a lot of people want to look back at his game against the Colts and that he had just a few weeks ago. And I knew it was a bad game. I didn't realize it was as bad as it was. He had 1 rush for 3 yards and 0 catches. But also you got to remember that Colts defense that secondary was a lot different than what it is now. We've had a lot of injuries in that secondary, and AJ Brown wasn't playing at 100% at that time. So it is going to be way different. So don't bench him just because he had a bad game against the Colts a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I just like the volume play of Singletary in this instance too, and I don't disagree with your AJ Brown take. Like he did have this guy has been kind of hot and off, and man, Tennessee's just been firing off all cylinders. One of the big deals that's happening that's making that happen is their usage of this guy's solid wide receiver skills. To me, he still stands as the 101 dynasty receiver, and that's why he's just so good at what he does. And we got our man Joe showing up. He's my co-host, one of the co-hosts of our show on Thursday nights at Dash of DFS, coming in and saying, all right. Cause I say it like I don't even know. I can't even describe it anymore. Like, no, not like me. No, not like Coach. Coach nails the McConaughey. I sound like some weird. It's sad. It's just that. See, look at Dustin. You think that's funny, buddy? I'm going to start telling you the opposite just to get you back on that one. I'm just kidding. I would never do that, even as a joke. The Dak decision is killing everybody today. I agree, Joe, man. It's getting pretty crazy out there. I think he plays. I'm still leaning on the fact that he didn't fly there for nothing. But you do definitely want to have another option right there. He's got his coach impression down. That's what I was saying right there. 808 says we're awesome. Thanks for the answer. Thanks for the follow, man. We love it. We love getting you guys out there and getting this. He says, Joe says this, and I love this question. It may crack me up right when I saw it. He says, this is for everyone other than Mike. He says, what do we do with Myles Gaskin today? And I'll just stay out.
No.
I don't. You got to have someone else better on the waiver wire to play than him today.
Yeah. They're playing Buffalo. Buffalo's too good against the run, and Miami is too bad with the run. There's no good combination there.
No. Even with Malcolm Brown, being on IR, and it's just him and pretty much Ahmed, but I still don't really want any part of that backfield today. I'll take the receivers, but I don't want the backfield.
Yeah. And since it's that obvious, and we both agreed that soundly, he's going to have 3 touchdowns.
He's going to have 3 touchdowns. And I don't have to say anything because he doesn't even want my opinion because he knows I think that he stinks. He's the RB1 of the all stink squad, in my opinion, right there. I feel like at the beginning of the season, I tweeted my dynasty rankings, and it was Josh Allen, everyone else, Myles Gaskin. So that's how I've always seen that guy. We got at Yahonko, he says Miles Carter Michael Carter, Elijah Mitchell, Chuba Hubbard, pick 2 to start tomorrow.
It's Mitchell and Hubbard for me pretty easily. As much as I want to love Michael Carter, this isn't the game. This isn't the time. The Bengals defense is starting to show up like a lot of people anticipated they were going to at the start of the season. Really starting to mold into something good. You got a backup quarterback in there that probably may not even be a backup quarterback on most teams. They're going to have to try to run the ball heavily, but the Bengals should be ready for that. I don't see them getting much going on offense.
Now, give him some credit, Justin. He could definitely be a backup for a CFL team. Okay.
I did say most teams. I didn't.
No, and I was a huge hater of Michael Carter at the beginning of the season and after the draft because he's a small guy, 4th round running back. Usually doesn't pan out, but he's actually looked pretty good. I've changed my tune on him, but I'm definitely looking at him in more of a dynasty aspect, not so much for this year. So I would go Mitchell and Hubbard as well. But like I said, Carter, I'm changing my tune on him, and I've been trying to get him in some dynasty leagues because he's still pretty cheap and he could be pretty valuable if that offense, it's young, and if it starts clicking next year or the year after, he could be a pretty big, big time guy. So.
Yeah, I actually am huge on Carter, especially in dynasty leagues. I really think that he's starting to figure it out in the NFL level at the NFL speed. Awfully quick, and I feel like this is a team that's going to have to depend on the run to be successful in the divisions that they play, especially when you got Buffalo and New England and things like that. So I really like Carter a lot. I like his future. I've always really been high on Mitchell as well. And I mean, I've told you about how I feel about Hubbard. I do like him. I like his opportunity. I feel like it should be a slam dunk for him, but he just doesn't perform at the same level as McCaffrey does. And for me, that kind of ruins the value of the position for me. I want him to be able to catch the passes out of the backfield, be able to break tackles and run for like 3,000 yards in one game and get me 52 points. And so when he sits there and he gets me 10 to 16, I tend to lean on that as a bad performance. Right. And so it's probably more of a matter of my perception of the guy than it is anything. But I just feel like out of these guys, I feel like I like the opportunity that the other two present better. Let's see here. Dustin says, you gents are awesome. He goes, I'm not on the official T2 team, but since joining Patreon, you've been great with advice and welcome us. Yeah, we love having you, man. It's a great time. And he's right. Everyone should just join Patreon so you can see what it's all about.
Yeah,
it's all about.
Dustin, you haven't shut up in the Patreon since you've joined. It's awesome that
you
got that whole conversation. It's constantly just churning. Yeah. There's always something new we're talking about. It's been great since you joined.
I'll go to bed.
If you are a part of the Patreon, you are a part of the team. Don't cut yourself short.
Absolutely, and more than welcome to even come over for Thanksgiving at Justin's house if you want to, because that's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah, just make sure you bring a hammer. We're under renovation.
He will be celebrating Thanksgiving 2 days afterwards, though, just to let you know, just like he's doing with Halloween in his neighborhood right now. We got at Nick Petro saying American football help. Says, do we start Mike Evans even if he's going against Lattimore today? And I'm going to let you guys take this because I have my answer ready.
I'm sitting him where I can. I have him in a couple different spots, but I've been a Mike Evans owner for a couple of years now. I love Mike Evans, even with the boom and bust. But this is one of the places where it's 95% a bust usually. So I'm not playing him against Lattimore. He gets that emotional and he gets in his head and it's a whole thing and they play each other twice a year. Lattimore knows how to get to him and cover him and everything else. So I'm benching him even for I would start I'd start all 3 of those running backs from the last question over Mike Evans today. I'm trying to get him out of my lineup if I can.
Even without Antonio Brown.
Yep. Doesn't matter to me.
I'm still starting him. I feel like in most situations, if you have Mike Evans, you have to start him. And I mean, it's pretty rare that you're going to have that deep of a roster. I mean, obviously it depends on the roster structure and the league structure. So I want to see what else you have. on your roster. But personally, I feel like you have to start Mike Evans because he's also that red zone threat. And even with Lattimore on him, I mean, Lattimore's also questionable for today as well, and they still haven't completely cleared him as playing. Obviously, he's going to. He's been questionable the last couple of weeks, but I mean, he still has some ailments, and Lattimore was guarding. Was covering DK Metcalf on that 85-yard touchdown, so it can happen.
Yeah, but DK only got one catch that game.
Yeah.
Sorry, he got 2 catches, but he only got one big one, and that was pretty much it. So
yeah, but I mean, Tom Brady finds a way to throw it to whoever's open. I get that, but it seems like when they get down inside that 5, he has one target in mind first, and then he goes to Gronk.
Well, I was going to say, but Gronk's coming back. So, that I feel like he might give him a couple, easy ones right there on the goal line just to get him, back into the game and get that adrenaline running so he doesn't take a shot to the ribs and go out again.
Yeah, it's possible. You're the tiebreaker, Mike.
Well, I feel like cumulatively in his career, Mike Evans has had one good game against Marshawn Lattimore. If we add them all up and give it the one performance, he's very shut down. Those two fist fight almost constantly. Like, I don't know. I'm actually good with fading Mike Evans today. And I know it's I completely agree with what you're saying, though. I got to see who I'm benching him for, because that's going to be important. Because, I mean, in most cases, I'm probably going to still play my stud, even though I know he's not going to do what I want him to do. The potential chances of him doing what I want him to do are still there enough to where I'm going to play him, say, over goodness sakes. I mean, there's a plethora of receivers that I'm going to be starting Mike Evans over. Let's see. We got a new show idea. It looks like Dustin and Justin together on Thursdays.
Dude, I don't know. Maybe we might consider something in the off season, but during the season, man, I got the Sunday morning Blitz, the Monday night waiver wire, and the Tuesday evening main show. I'm not ready to take on another show during the regular season. Not if I want to keep a wife.
Too bad, fan to man, man. It's gonna happen, and we'll pay your wife off. You'll see.
Okay. She'll totally allow it if you're paying her.
Right. Well, no, we'll just give her like some good network show to watch, and then she'll want to watch it without you anyway. So that's how we handle that. We got Stephen Nathan saying, I give away Kelsey and got Ridley and Damian Harris. What do y'all think?
I think I'd rather have Kelsey. Ridley has not been doing much this year. It seems like Matt Ryan just doesn't know how to throw touchdowns in the red zone, except to Cordero Patterson. But yeah, no, Ridley has been underperforming. Unless you think Ridley is going to have like a second half of the year breakout and be the guy you thought he was going to be. That's about the only way I would see that going in your favor. But unless you really need the depth too, if you got some injuries and stuff, but. It's going to be hard to replace the points Kelsey's going to get you. So
I heard something interesting on the Fusion Fantasy Football podcast this Friday. I listened to it yesterday because just like Halloween, I do everything a day late. But he was talking about Ridley. Joshua was talking about Ridley, and he mentioned how Ridley was so much better when he had that solid other guy on the other side of the field. And now that Pitts is starting to pick it up and he's starting to become more and more of a piece of that offense, who knows, maybe Ridley does make a comeback because he can take away more of that defense. But even with that, I think, Kelsey has that positional value that it's so hard to give up. I think I'd still want – I don't know. I'd want to see your roster. If you needed the running back help, you needed the wide receiver help, I might say that you had a good little deal there. If you had another tight end to replace Kelsey with, then yeah, let's do it. But I think it's a pretty close trade depending on what you needed. I'll leave it at that. So I'm going to answer your question by not answering your question.
That's awesome.
You should be a politician, Justin.
What's that?
I said you should be a politician. That was a pretty good non-answer.
Right.
Like that non-committal answer.
Exactly. We got. I believe must be Justin's wife here saying, network show to keep you entertained. To this, I respond with Squid Games. Okay, That's all I'm going to answer that with. And then you can pay in hard labor to get something done in this renovation. You don't get the nickname Dirty Jobs without being able to lay down some drywall and stuff like that. So definitely, if you guys get the plane ticket, we'll come up there. We'll get some stuff done. I'm telling you what, we'll motivate Justin too.
Don't tempt me. No, you won't be able to motivate me to get shit done, but don't tempt me to fly you up here to do it.
Done. Actually, what she raised was probably better. You cook dinner. Yep. You feed me, you got me. That's how that always works. I always tell that to customers too. I'm like, yeah, if you feed me, I probably won't go away. And they're like, nah, I want you to go away.
I weighed 150 pounds when we met, so she's a damn good cook.
That's awesome. Well, appreciate her showing up to set us straight on that. But again, Squid Games. Trust me, you'll thank me later. We got. Oh, you guys have seen it?
Yeah, it's great show.
It is great. At Baroness_beer says Prescott is my quarterback, and he's a late game and questionable. He says, does he take the gamble or wait and drop him for someone? I don't think I'm good with dropping Dak.
No.
I'm dropping somebody else and waiting for Dak to come back if that's the case, but not without a backup plan. I'm not playing him this week.
Yeah. Definitely try like we said earlier, try to get someone else. See if it's a 2 quarterback league, you might be kind of SOL, and hopefully you have a solid second option. But I would try to get a Cousins, a Daniel Jones, something to cover for him, and hopefully or try to get a 4 o'clock guy and see if something else comes out before then. I don't think anything is, but like I said, we said Daniel Jones and Kirk Cousins might be out there in a 1 quarterback league. So
if you're dropping Dak, I'm imagining Kirk Cousins is available. If we're considering that kind of an option.
Yeah, if this is a 1 quarterback league and he's the only quarterback you have, then there's other quarterbacks out there. If this is a 2 quarterback league, most likely it's going to be a super flex, because that's the majority of leagues. Start Savon Ahmed before you totally just drop Dak Prescott. We definitely don't want to drop Dak Prescott. I don't care what the format is. Personally, we've already mentioned it earlier. We think Dak's playing, and you got nothing else to worry about. But try to be prepared, obviously. So have somebody ready to go in that super flex spot. If this is a 2 quarterback league, then if your only option is to drop Dak to pick up another quarterback, then your only option is to just take one on the chin this week and take the loss. Because otherwise, in the future, for the rest of your weeks this season, you're going to be taking the loss every single week because you dropped Dak Prescott. So,
yeah, you're also going to give someone else in your league the chance to get Dak Prescott.
Right.
That's the big part, besides, just dropping him off your team, you're going to give someone else, whoever has the most fab money, is going to get Dak Prescott.
That's like when Daniel Jones is at the 5-yard line about to punch it in and he throws a pick 6 the other way. You lost 6 points and gave the other team 6 points. Sorry, Joe. Best example I could think of for the moment.
That's a great analogy. And I'm with you. It's just like, for me, there's very few quarterbacks that I'm going to roster in lieu of a bench spot, especially if it's like, say, a 5-team bench. But Dak Prescott is one of those guys. He's a top 5 quarterback. You got to hold on to him. And again, like if you're considering this, I am positive Daniel Jones is available in your league. I'm positive Kirk Cousins is available in your league. I'm positive that Patrick Mahomes is not. So you're going to be good with picking up one of those guys, dropping somebody else. And in the same kind of spirit, we got Dustin stepping in and says, how bad will CD be affected by Dak not playing? What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I don't really like the receivers too much if Dak doesn't play, but you're going to be limited in options on, if you're not going to play, if you're going to wait to see if Dak plays. There's not going to be many guys, maybe Hardman, maybe Sterling Shepard, and I don't really like those. I'd rather throw CD in there with Cooper Rush and hopefully something happens, because he's a playmaker and a game breaker. So he could still have a good game just getting slants over the middle, from Cooper Rush and, break something off big. So I'd rather take the chance on CD than try to find a backup option, Yeah,
I agree. I'm starting CD Lamb with Cooper Rush over Slayton or Demarcus Robinson or whoever you can find. So I agree 100%. great wide receivers are still going to find a way usually to score a lot of fantasy points. That's why so many people out there still drafted Michael Thomas in the 10th round of their redraft leagues and have held on to him all offseason. Me too, as well. Yep. Because no matter, there you go. Because it's Michael freaking Thomas. And of course, we didn't feel this way necessarily about CD. We had a feeling eventually he'd be great, but we didn't know this early on he would be considered great. But from what we've seen, he is a great wide receiver. He'll find a way to make plays happen, even if they've got to do a little screen pass to open up the possibility for him to break one. They're going to do what they can to use all the weapons if Cooper Rush is in there. So, but I especially like Pollard and Zeke tonight if he doesn't play. You're already starting Zeke no matter what. But Pollard is a sneaky good play for Sunday Night Football if you need that other option. He might even be that other super flex option that you can hold just in case Dak doesn't play if you have no other quarterback options. You throw him in there at the super flex and watch him get those PPR behind the backfield and hopefully 2 touchdown game.
Yep. Nope. I'm 100% right there with you. I think that I don't really have an argument for any of that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I completely agree. We got old Buzzard 12. He says, start Trevor Lawrence or Jameis Winston today.
I don't know.
Justin, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, the biggest thing I get out of this is that I really need to work on my Twitter handle because these guys have some pretty awesome Twitter handles.
That's awesome, right? Old Buzzard 12. I love it.
I don't know. So I think I'm going to go with Jameis as much as I don't want to. I think they're going to have to throw the ball a lot, and he's going against his former team, the Bucs. So he's got kind of that revenge game aspect to it. And then when it comes to Trevor, I forget who they're playing, but I know it's not a great matchup for him. Oh, the Seahawks. It's not a great matchup for Trevor. It's not a horrible matchup. Yeah, the Saints are at home against his former team. I'm gonna go with Jameis because I'm already gonna be rooting for him anyway.
Yeah, I think Trevor has the better matchup because I think Seattle's defense is like almost non-existent, both pass rush and secondary. Whereas the Bucs still have a pass rush, a bit. But I think I'd go with Jameis here as well. I think he's got the higher upside, and they probably have about the same floor with the kind of game that we're going in. Because, like you said, New Orleans is gonna have to throw the ball to keep up with the Bucs. So yeah, I'll stick with Jameis as well. He might go for 3 interceptions, but that
means he'll have 5 touchdowns.
That's true. But
you got to do the proportionate ratio of Jameis interceptions to touchdowns.
But if you own Jameis, that's always a possibility. So
absolutely. Got our man Rich showing up. What up, Rich? What's happening, man? He says Trevor. I actually feel like I'm not on board with Trevor. I feel like for me it's also Jameis. I do like Trevor Lawrence more and more every week, but I just can't depend on that guy. He can throw a stinker too quick. Urban Myers is just the worst coach. I can't do it. Oh man, Chicken Noodle Soup showing back up. We got James Robinson or Kamara this week. And what up, Chicken Noodle Soup?
I'm going Kamara. I like both their matchups. I think they're both really solid matchups. So that's where it's gonna come down to pure talent, and Kamara's a better running back than James Robinson. Not saying anything against James Robinson, but I'm going to go with Kamara, especially since they got him going when they couldn't get him going in the run game last week. They finally got him going in the pass game. What did he get, 10 receptions or something? So hopefully they'll keep that, in mind once they start running into brick walls, aka the Bucs front 7.
Yeah, definitely Kamara, and I'm actually calling the upset too. I feel like the Saints win this game.
Yep. Rich even says Kamara. I say Kamara. You always start your studs. Although now I would argue that James Robinson is a stud. I feel like that guy's done enough for me to call him one of my studs. Who are we benching? I'm curious. Is this like a one running back situation? Are we flexing? Like, I feel like I've asked Chicken Noodle Soup this before, and he's like, Jonathan Taylor and like Ezekiel Elliott or something like that, or his
Walter
other
Payton in his prime.
right. So I mean, we can only start so many. I feel like if I'm getting this question too often, I feel like I might be trading one of these guys and really improving maybe my wide receiver and tight end position, possibly quarterback if I needed to, because I feel like I could get a haul for any one of those guys on your team right there. Let's see here. Next question on this was from I Sports 24/7. OBJ or Russell Gage at the flex, half PPR.
Russell Gage.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Russell Gage too. OBJ has been severely disappointing, and he looks like he re-injured that shoulder last week. He came back in the game, but I still don't think he's 100%. I don't think he's ever going to be 100% again. Just kind of seems who he's going to be. So yeah, no, I'd probably go Russell Gage too.
Calvin Ridley is out.
What?
What?
I just got an update. It says Calvin Ridley is out due to personal matters.
So in Not News, we got Jamal Williams is out today, and we got Calvin Ridley for personal issues again. That's really is this guy like running the mafia on the side? Like, guys, I had a hit go bad last night. I got to go clean stuff up in Indiana.
Or maybe he doesn't want to play with Matt Ryan anymore.
Maybe he had too much Halloween candy.
Maybe it's Halloween, and he's like, dude, I've had this costume planned out. I forgot I worked on Halloween. I'm calling in sick, guys. Don't worry about it.
He's going trick or treating as he's dressed up as Julio Jones.
That was awesome. 8-man league, and he has a stacked squad. Chicken Noodle Soup says, yeah, like I said, I knew when you asked last week that we were pretty shocked with the answer on the who you had in reserve, and we agreed. So it's still Kamara for all of us at Toilet Titles. Chicken Noodle Soup says 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and 1 flex defense, and a kicker and a quarterback. So okay, that makes more sense when we got the solid depth that you do. That's Russell Gage.
That's how you make an 8-team league tough. When you limit the spots, and it's really matchup dependent. Then you really got to figure out who's going to have the biggest game, when you got all those stars you're sitting on your squad.
Absolutely. We starting Higbee or Goddard? T12 Mikey asks.
Oh, they're both good options.
Especially this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I still really want Goddard. I think against the Lions, we already know they're not really going to be able to establish much of a run game because it's the Eagles.
Well, they just don't try to establish a run game.
Yeah,
that's the problem with them. Is Sirianni just keeps calling those. He's leaving the run game up to Jalen Hurts, and as a quarterback, you're gonna decide to throw the ball instead of running it.
Maybe he really likes Gardner Minshew, and he's finding ways to set Hurts up for failure.
He really doesn't want to keep that job if that's the goal.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's keeping the job I think he might be that. I'm from not Philly area, but just around Philly, and the outrage here from Eagles fans is unheard of. Everyone, they don't like Hurts, they don't like Sirianni, they don't like anything going on there right now. So that I'm trying to stay away from the Eagles organization altogether, except for Jalen Hurts. As long as he's playing, I'm putting him in my lineup because he's been a stud. He's been better than Justin Herbert, I think, so far this year. I think.
Who?
Jalen Hurts.
At winning football games or?
No, in fantasy.
Fantasy, maybe. Yeah. Justin Herbert has taken a sophomore slump, a little bit of a sophomore slump here, but there's no way that I'm taking Hurts over Justin Herbert in any dynasty format.
No, definitely not in dynasty. But we were talking. Sorry, that references for all the viewers. That references a bathroom board bet from when our rankings came out for the season, and I had Jalen Hurts one spot in front of Justin Herbert, and Justin was outraged.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's going to be hard for Hurts to finish above Justin Herbert when he's sitting on the bench.
I know. I know, but I'm riding the wave right now. You know, I know there could be an end to it, but I'm taking the win as of right now. So
your point was very well proven, though. Honestly, like I wasn't expecting this kind of an offense to show up. So,
well,
so,
it's been garbage time, man. He scored
Yeah.
all of his points in garbage time. So,
Right.
but in fantasy, it doesn't matter. Points are points. So,
Yep, absolutely.
And I'm starting Higbee. I really like that matchup this week, but I like both of those guys. I think you're gonna look at about probably the same end game numbers at the end of the day on both of those guys, right around the same. We got Dustin saying, is it safe to say at this point we got Pitts is the best pass catcher in Atlanta? And that's why I can't really lean on Cordell Patterson as much as I want to, because he was getting utilized all kinds. And then we got to this, where we don't have the volume that he was getting, and therefore he takes a few spikes down. And I would say I'd agree with this. I say Pitts is definitely the best catcher. I think with Ridley out, he's almost the only pass catcher, although I do like where Gage has been getting a little bit more utilization and get more productive too. I am starting him in a lot of places today.
Yeah, especially Gage was, hurt there for a little bit. I think he was on IR. But since he's come back, he's been a part of the offense. So, and that offense has picked up a little bit. So I'll take Gage, in a flex spot this week.
And Dustin says he's in the Poconos too.
Oh, Alex. I'm in Allentown, so I'm not too far.
Nice.
Maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah, there you go. That's beer distance right there. If I've ever seen beer distance, I can name some beer distance right there. We got at Noel Thompson. He says Pittman or Waddle, PPR. And this guy's at work, so we're going to reply to him on Twitter as soon as I get this question out with whatever we decide here. Who are you going with, Alex?
That's a good one. That's a good place to be, having to choose between those two guys. But I think I'm gonna go Pittman here. I think the matchup's better, and Pittman is starting to really turned on as the Colts alpha wide receiver. So I like the touchdown upside with him. Waddle's been great in PPR, tons of targets. He's like the new Jarvis Landry from Miami. But I think Pittman has the higher ceiling, especially this week because they're going against Tennessee, whereas the Dolphins are going up against Buffalo. So they're going to have to throw the ball, but the Buffalo defense is legit this year. So I'm going to go with Pittman.
Yeah, I'm going with Pittman as well. I am a little bit leery about the fact that when Ty came back, that one game he came back, Pittman only had 2 catches for 35 yards against Houston. But
that's against the Texans. That's Hilton's the Texan slayer.
Right, but also they were running the ball an awful lot because it was Houston. Yeah. So that's something else to consider. But against Tennessee earlier this season, Pittman had 6 catches for 68 yards. So definitely double digits in your PPR leagues. But with Ty back, I think that does take away a lot of the heat from the other side. So I'm rolling with Pittman as well in this situation. And just like Alex said, this is a great choice to have to make. So kudos to you, but I think I'm going to roll with Pittman as well.
Yep, and I think I like them both. I think this is a great situation to be in as well. But I am also leaning Pittman today because I feel like he is going to get the target share. Although I do love me some Waddle today too, because they're going to be playing a lot of catch up. So he's going to be they're going to be playing in a negative game script. But Pittman for sure. We got this one, I believe, is from our man Alex.
Yeah, it's for me. I have it's a 14 team auction league, half PPR. You start 1 wide receiver, 2 flexes, but I have one of the flexes already taken care of. I have Khalil Herbert in my 1 flex, so I need 2 of these guys, and I drafted really, really well, and I've had this hard decision all year long. So let's see what you guys say.
I mean, just going back to what we said about AJ Brown earlier, I think that this one is the definite starter here. I really like Higgins this week, but also with Deontay, he's going against the Browns. I'm not sure that I really like the matchup. I can kind of see a very quick game there. I think both teams are going to run the ball a lot, and especially with Mayfield being banged up, I think both teams are going to run the clock down. That's going to have less opportunity for both offenses. to score a lot of fantasy points. I don't see a lot of fantasy points being scored in that game. And then with Amari, you got that threat of Dak maybe possibly not playing. I'm still sold that Dak's going to play, but also we do know that Vikings defense has played a lot better in recent weeks. Again, another run-heavy game that could take away some scoring opportunity. I don't know. I think I'm gonna stick with AJ Brown and Higgins though.
I think for me, I agree with everything about Amari. I think for me, it's AJ Brown for sure is the slam dunk, and for me, the other guy is actually Higgins. Although I don't know, I do like Deontay as well. Amari is definitely the guy I'm out on here. I'm definitely out on Amari Cooper. Deontay Johnson. I think actually it's Deontay and AJ Brown for me as well. I think I like Deontay's productivity, although I do agree it's going to be a low scoring game. I feel like he is going to probably be the guy that scores if there's any scoring opportunities or situations to be had for Pittsburgh today.
And if you want to use Rich as our tiebreaker down there, he said Deontay as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a lot of help, guys, because that was who I was trying to decide on all week. You know, Higgins. Yeah. It was between I have Deontay in there right now, and Higgins was the other guy on my bench. Like, you know, Amari was pretty much out of it, but that's why I asked. But I think I'm going to stick with Deontay because I think he's got the safer floor. Because the Cincinnati's going against the Jets, so I don't know exactly what's going to happen in that game. But right. No, I'm with you on Higgins though. I think he's definitely, he got 15 targets last week. I think they're trying to get him going again. But I'm going to stick with Deontay, I think. But thanks, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That was that question. Actually, I think that does it for us, guys. That's all the questions all caught up. Unless anybody else has any questions, get them in there. If not, we'll go ahead and just go and close this thing out and say, make sure you get on the toiletstitles.com where all the articles are. We're also got videos. We got all kinds of stuff going on there. Make sure you join the Patreon because it's awesome. And everybody on there is having a really good time getting people like our man Dustin on there, who's making it even more and more fun each week to get involved in. And I mean, there's a lot of fun conversations outside of the football stuff. So get on there. And also, like I said, the Patreon, you want to just join that for $10 a month. You can put guys like Justin over here on my left on your pocket at all times. Alex will answer questions for you. He'll get up at 2:00 in the morning to answer. Well, maybe not that. Okay. Maybe he won't do that, but our boys in Australia will be sitting there waiting for that question to drop. And cause we got 24-hour coverage 7 days a week, guys. Steve says, see you kids. Good show. Rich says, happy Halloween. Guys, we're going to drop out. Do you have anything else to add on to there, Justin or Alex?
Was it already widely known that Julio wasn't going to play today?
Yes, he got ruled out on like Thursday, I want to say.
Okay. Yep. All right, that's all I had. We can move on. So I don't look like an idiot. We'll pretend like we didn't see that. Everybody hopefully already signed off, and we're good to go.
Excellent. Well, happy Halloween, everybody, and we will see you next week. Good luck, good winnings. Let's get this stuff done. Be the best of the best, and join the rest.